All right, good evening and welcome to the October 25th Board of Mayor and Alderman meeting, our voting session. We'll begin with a roll call of our board. Patrick?
Present.
Alderman Potts?
Present.
Alderman Brown?
Present.
Alderman Berger had to leave. Alderman Barnhill?
Present.
Alderman Hanson?
Here.
And Alderman Peterson, wardrobe change. Nice to see you. All right, we will start off with our invocation from Pastor Eric Murray of the St. Andrew Lutheran Church. If you'll bear with me, I'd love to read a brief bio. Originally from Atlanta, Georgia, Pastor Eric Murray's first career was in physical therapy, chiefly with Fort Sanders Hospital and the Patricia Neal Rehab Center in Knoxville. Then came theological studies at the Lutheran Theological Southern Seminary in Columbia, South Carolina, where he received his Master's of Divinity degree in 1995. Ordained later that same year, Pastor Eric has gone on to serve Lutheran congregations in Oglethorpe, Georgia, Peachtree Corners, Georgia, Knoxville, Tennessee, Birmingham, Alabama, and since July 2021, St. Andrews in Franklin, Tennessee. In service to Christ's love for the world, Pastor Eric uses his gifts of vision, hospitality, creativity, worship, curation, and prophetic preaching. As often as possible, Pastor Eric finds time to enjoy sci-fi movies, his vinyl record collection, abstract art, and running. So thank you for being with us. After you are done, I'm going to ask Alderman Potts to come up, introduce our Eagle Scouts who will give us our pledge. So if everybody will stand while he prays, please.
Good evening. The Quaker author Parker Palmer, in his book Healing the Heart of Democracy, writes, "When we forget that politics is about weaving a fabric of compassion and justice on which everyone can depend, the first to suffer are the most vulnerable among us: our children, our elderly, our mentally ill, our poor, and our homeless. As they suffer, so does the integrity of our democracy." Let us pray. God of the polis, the city, you call your people to honor those in authority. We thank you for our mayor, for our vice mayor, and for the city council, and for the call you have given them to serve your people, especially those vulnerable ones among us. Inspire these leaders to weave a fabric of compassion and restorative justice that will cover all your people. Grant in your mercy just and honest government, and give us grace to live together in unity and peace. We pray in all the holy names by which you, O God, are known. Amen.
Good evening, Alderman and Madam Vice Mayor. It's my pleasure this evening to introduce two members of Troop 135, Ethan Fletcher, who is the senior patrol leader for Troop 135. His rank is life. And also Owen Stamper, who is a life rank as well. They'll be starting the pledge for us, and this evening they're here representing Troop 135 during their 80th anniversary, as they ought to be celebrated coming up on November the 5th at First Presbyterian Church, and more details to follow on that. So gentlemen, if you'll start us on our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So we have another group joining us tonight. They're in uniform, but a different kind of uniform. If you guys will come up and join me, I know you're probably ready to go home. Thank you for your wait. I'm sorry. Hopefully y'all have noticed these uniforms on television multiple times. Multiple times. Yeah. Our Nolensville Little League Club. Thank you guys for being here tonight. I'm going to read a proclamation that recognizes your efforts, your hard work, and congratulations on being second in the world. That's a high five.
Leaving you hanging.
Thank you. All right, so we do a lot of whereases. It's kind of formal, but it's got good stuff. So whereas we realize that participation in organized athletics helps build character and teaches a wholesome sense of good sportsmanship among our youth. And whereas to really excel in any one sport, a young person must demonstrate, in addition to a great deal of natural ability, an outstanding spirit of dedication, enthusiasm, and hard work. And whereas a striking example of this is the achievement of the Nolensville Little League baseball team, who not only excelled in competition, but was also named the recipient of the 2022 Jack Loesch Little League Baseball World Series Team Sportsmanship Award based on their display of sportsmanship on and off the field. And whereas the team is comprised of 13 players, are we missing one or two? All right, I won't get offended. That's all right, it's late. And 3 coaches who are all Williamson County residents, with 6 of the players being from Franklin, and earned an overall record of 30-5 throughout the season. The Nolensville Little League team went on to win the district, state, and Southeast championships, earning their way to a berth in Williamsport, Pennsylvania, where they advanced to the U.S. championships. And the team played against the Chinese, how do you say that word? Taipei. My husband watched it. In the World Consolation Game, ultimately finishing 4th in the world and 2nd in the U.S. And the second place finish in the U.S. is the second best finished ever by a Tennessee representative in the 75 years of Little League history. In total, over 6,500 teams were entered into the event in the U.S. alone, making it the largest youth sporting event in the world. It's pretty impressive. Now, therefore, I, Brandy Blanton, Vice Mayor, do hereby call on the city's citizens of Franklin to congratulate these talented young men of Nolensville Little League team and their coaches for this incredible achievement. So, congratulations. I have one of these for each of you. If we can grab a picture? Absolutely. Y'all can go home and go to bed. School night, right?
Thank you.
We'll give you the extras.
Thank you.
This way.
And we brought you an autographed baseball by the entire.
Oh, do I get it because the mayor's not here?
That's right.
All right.
And a team picture that's autographed.
That is so awesome. Thank you all. Let's go this way. Thank you all so much. Appreciate it. Congratulations. Sorry. We are going to defer the approval of minutes. I need a motion to defer. Citizen comments. Where's Valencia? Oh, I apologize. I don't do this every day. We are going to open it up for citizens' comments for items that are not on the agenda. Valencia Breckenridge with Graceworks Ministries. If you'll come share with us, we'll give you about 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
I know.
Right?
That's what they tell me.
No, I'm going to make it work.
All right.
My first BOMA meeting, I'm excited to be here. I was told it wasn't going to be fun, and I've been having a blast. Those boys are something else. Really, my words, I don't need a full 2 minutes. I wanted to make BOMA and all watching aware that Graceworks, while we have received what we have affectionately called a stay of eviction, in that so many know that we were supposed to be out of our main building by June of 2023. We were able to get an extension on our lease. It's a 5-year lease with a sublease option. And as I have said publicly, now the real work begins. This is to let everyone know what you already know, but I have to keep saying it. We are looking for a permanent place. I was told the other day that Graceworks not being in Franklin and not being in Williamson County is not an option. Amen. And so I hope that our community listening and our BOMA representatives all believe like we believe that GraceWorks belongs in Franklin and obviously in Williamson County. So I am asking that all ears be to the ground. Can I give my cell phone number, my address? You all can come.
That's up to you.
You know how to get in touch with me at GraceWorks Ministries. No stone unturned. No stone unturned. No option goes unconsidered. So this is a strong plea to help us find a permanent place. Thank you.
Thank you, Valencia. Thank you for what GraceWorks does for our community. All right, we'll go deja vu. I need a deferral of the minutes. Oh, I apologize. Yes, you did, this back and forth. Communications, anybody from the Williamson County government here? Nope. Then we will move on to the approval of minutes, and I need a deferral for that, please.
Motion to defer.
Thank you, Clyde. Second by Matt. All right, first and second, roll call vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
I vote yes, so I don't get to vote. Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger's not here. Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
All right, carries unanimously. Now, okay, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. What did I do now? Miscellaneous reports. Eric, do you have any miscellaneous reports?
Only thing I have is Pumpkin Fest, Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. right here in downtown Franklin. Great event.
Anybody else? Nope. All right, consent agenda. All items under the consent agenda are deemed to be non-controversial and routine in nature by the governing body. They will be approved as recommended by committee or staff by one motion of the governing body. Items on the consent agenda will not be discussed. We are looking to consider items number 8 through 14 on the consent agenda. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve?
Thank you, Alderman Hanson. Second, Alderman Potts. Roll call vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger's not here. Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
And Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes unanimously. All right, we have no old business. On to new business. Item number 4, consideration of ordinance 2022-26, an ordinance to amend the Franklin zoning ordinance and zoning map as part of an annual update. A public hearing will be established on November 22nd, 2022. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve ordinance 2022-26.
Thank you, Clyde.
Seconded.
Second by Alderman Brown. Any discussion? All right, move on to a vote. Alderman Barnhill.
Yes.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Brown.
Yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
Passes 6-1 absence, and I don't know how I fit into that. So, moving right along. Item number 5, consideration of City of Franklin Contract 2022-0208, an agreement for reimbursement of costs for domestic water distribution system improvements with Fourth Avenue Partners Franklin LLC. The applicant, or Mike Hathaway, is here with this item, and I don't know if you're here to answer questions or, because it's not a public hearing, so. I think that's appropriate since it has to do with your business.
Thank you very much. Mike Hathaway, 906 Studio Architects, as well as Fourth Avenue Partners, represented. Appreciate your time. We spoke at the workshop about kind of where we are. We very much are grateful for the city and the offer of 50% reimbursement. However, we do still feel like and would like your consideration that because we installed the line that we were asked to install, the 8-inch line all the way up to the edge of Hillsborough Road, and then when we got there, it was a 6-inch line. Not that really the as-built issue is not the issue, it's as much of if that was the line that needed to be there. If it needed to be a 6-inch line, then we would have installed a 6-inch line. if it needed to be an 8-inch line, I would have assumed that that would have been installed the first time when you guys did Hillsborough Road. So we're just asking for your consideration to instead of covering just 50%, cover all that cost. I mean, I'm not a huge business owner, so even the 80 grand is a large number for us, and we just would appreciate your consideration.
Thank you, Mr.
And
Hathaway.
thank you. Happy to answer any questions.
A motion? You have to have a
Somebody gotta make a
motion before you
motion.
can discuss.
Signed out.
No motion?
No motion, item fails for lack of discussion.
So that we can move to discussion, I'll place a motion on the floor for approval.
Okay. I need a second for discussion.
Second for discussion.
All right. Jason, you get to speak first.
Yeah, from what I recall during the work session, the contractor did all of the work as we had scoped it out and got to the point where they were looking to make the connection with their 8-inch pipe, which they had met their codes based on what we had told them to install. And once they got to that connection point, it was a 6-inch pipe that had been installed. So they had done the work that we had asked them to do, and a previous vendor failed to install the proper size pipe is what occurred. And so we're asking this gentleman and this company to take a loss on the work that they properly did for the city. And because of that, I don't think that they should have to be forced to eat that cost.
Eric wants to speak. Clyde?
I don't know that that's entirely accurate. Mark, do you want to clarify? Because there's an existing condition. They made an assumption about the existing condition. They would have had to have done that work regardless. Because of the inconvenience, we're offering to pay half. The reality is, in a normal situation, they would have paid all of this. But because of the confusion, we provided an offer to pay half of this cost. So I think it's a pretty generous offer that we've made. I think to not have them pay any of this cost would not be fair, given the fact that that was their responsibility, regardless of what that condition was in the field. They assumed it was an 8-inch. It wasn't. It needs to be an 8-inch. Mark, I don't know if you can clarify further.
I would agree that what Eric is stating is correct. I don't know that I could make any more points to that, but yeah, the existing condition, they need to meet the fire flow requirements based on adding to our system. It was regrettable. That's why I think the city took the position that we would pay half the cost of the additional work.
So say what they relied on was accurate and said 6 inches. It was a 6-inch pipe. They'd need to have made it an 8-inch to meet the flow requirements, correct?
Yes.
So because of that misunderstanding, that's why we offered to pay half. So I don't think it's accurate to say they took a cost on for us. They didn't.
Thank you.
We're
for
giving them a
providing
discount,
clarification on
essentially.
that.
Yeah,
It's unfortunately been a few weeks since that work session.
that's fine.
Yes, Clyde.
First off, let me apologize to Mr. Hathaway with the comments that I'm going to make. I don't think that the city and the taxpayer is responsible for any of the cost. Now, if we'd have given no information, they would have been responsible for the $165,000 cost. We made a mistake, but it's not a mistake that cost them anything in the end. I think they're responsible for the entire $165,000. I don't think the taxpayer is responsible for putting in a portion of it just because they relied on information that we thought was correct, but turned out not to be correct. If the information had have matched what was in there, their cost would have been $165,000, because the information would have said there's a 6-inch line there that you have to replace. So I don't think I don't think the city, I think it's doggone generous of staff and city administrator to offer $82,000 to this particular individual when they're not, when we did nothing wrong, and the city did nothing wrong other than be mistaken on that particular 6 versus 8-inch line. I won't support the ordinance as written to reimburse $82,000 simply because there was a mistake made. The mistake didn't cost him anything in the end. He may have relied on spending less somewhere in the process, but in the end, it didn't cost him anything. And I think that's basically what Eric said.
Any other comments? Patrick?
Yeah, I mean, I think principally, we need to look, as a city, I know we do, and our staff are fantastic at, obviously, and you have a whole city of Franklin that they have to keep up with the as-builts, and so, I mean, it's clearly, it's not a small job, but it's one that everyone relies on. And happens to be, it's $160,000. What's to say what's to say it wasn't a mistake that would have cost, that mistake of the city would have caused this deal to go under? I mean, I know that's not the case, but principally, I think if we give them, and I guess the question, and we didn't really get a chance to talk about it at work session because we have incredibly packed sessions and we like to talk. But I think, how often does this happen? Is this regular, would you say? I mean,
No, it's not.
No.
But we also advise folks when they do work to do, and don't rely on an as-built only. Do on-site, go and inspect it yourself, that is a best practice, and that's what we recommend people do. Didn't happen. So, it's not common, it's regrettable, but it also is, I don't know that it caused them to spend more money. I haven't seen any evidence of that. Because they needed an 8-inch line to support the fire flows that they needed for the building. A 6-inch wouldn't have done it. It's not like they had to build more. That's my understanding.
Correct, yes.
Any other discussion?
I guess then why are we, if they didn't have to spend more money, then why are we here? Or why we even look at, I mean, there's more money being spent, right?
There's no more money being spent on what would have been required of the project if we knew that it was a 6-inch line. Now, the fact that they need to go through a due diligence process of verifying that the infrastructure information that's provided is in fact the case. We see that in horizontal alignments, line sizes, things of that nature. Eric had mentioned this is rare when we come into a situation like that. But, we do encourage people to check out valving. We can do potholing. There's various things that we can do, and this was offered to these folks.
So I think it's fair to say they made an assumption about the project cost overall based on thinking, well, there's an 8-inch line there that we're not going to have to worry about. We can build from there. Then they had to upgrade it. They would have had to upgrade it anyway. So it was a cost they hadn't counted on, but a cost that would have been necessary nonetheless. They just had it as a surprise later in the project than they would have if they'd done a different type of due diligence other than just what was relying on the as-built. So in recognition of that is why we have proposed to share that cost.
So just for clarification, was there a public record that we provided or that was on file that they referenced, or was this, the only discovery was making the assumption that it was an 8-inch?
They used the GIS information, I think, right?
I don't know the specifics on that.
Okay, it was either the GIS or an as-built, whatever they
Correct.
used there. But again, our advice is always don't just rely on that. Go look in the field. That's not an uncommon uncommon, or that's a general practice. And so it's the combination of those that brought us to this situation.
Verified that it was an as-built drawing that they, an as-built drawing that they used to identify the size of that line. Now, the contractor who put that line in did it appropriately, but the as-built drawing was incorrect.
Does the contractor do the as-built drawing and submit that, or is that something we do internally?
I believe this case, the contractor submitted the
Typically, the
as-built drawing.
contractor.
Any more discussion?
And the motion is to
Approve the,
reimburse them for.
Yes, ma'am.
That's the motion.
In agreement for reimbursement is the motion.
So we just make sure.
All right, no more discussion. I'll call for a vote. Roll call vote. Alderman Barnhill.
No.
Alderman Hanson.
Yes.
Alderman Peterson.
Yes.
Alderman Berger's not here. Alderman Brown.
yes.
Alderman Potts.
Yes.
Alderman Baggett.
Yes.
The motion, item passes 5 yeses and 1 no. All right. Item number 6, consideration of resolution 2022-72, a resolution to revise the organizational chart within the administration department. This is what we weren't able to
Yeah.
talk about at work session, but I think Eric can do a
This-
quick explanation.
Yeah, this is a pretty straightforward one. Actually, we talked about it 2 weeks ago. We had 2 promotions within the administration department for our new city recorder and our new assistant city recorder that will create a vacancy, and we'd like to upgrade that position. So we're not adding a position, but we are putting it at a slightly higher level. We think that'll help us get the level of employee we will fit our needs best. We don't believe that that will cause any budgetary impact in the existing budget. If it does, we'll do it with our end-of-the-year budget amendments, but we expect with the vacancy and other things that happen that will offset that cost, and it's a relatively small change, and I think just a pay grade difference, that this will help us, though, better align with what we need in the organization.
Awesome. May I have a motion, please?
Move
to approve.
Oh, sorry.
Second?
All right, Alderman Brown, and thank you, Alderman Hanson. Any discussion? It's really hard calling y'all Alderman, whatever, I'm sorry. Roll call vote, Clyde? I'm giving
Yes.
up. Clyde, yes. Gabrielle?
Yes.
Miss Ann?
Yes.
Bev's not here. Matt?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Item passes unanimously with 1 absence. All right, item number 7, consideration of resolution 2022-71, a resolution to reject all bids for performance upon demand of the following: wastewater treatment laboratory contract services, industrial pretreatment, sample and testing, water reclamation facility influent and effluent testing, demonstration facility sampling and testing of river samples. Thanks, Michelle. May I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Thank you,
Second.
Patrick. Thank you, Miss Ann. Discussion?
Just to quickly clarify, we received we only received 1 bid in response. What you'll probably see is after we reject this, we'll probably split it into 2 different bid packages because we had some met, some weren't met. We feel like if we tailor it into 2 different packages, we'll probably get a better response and more fittingly meet our needs.
Awesome. Any discussion? All right, roll call vote. Clyde?
Yes.
Gabrielle?
Yes.
Miss Ann?
Yes.
Matt?
Yes.
Jason?
Yes.
And Patrick?
Yes.
Passes unanimously. All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Thank you. Thank you, Jason Potts. Second?
Second.
Clyde. All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Good night.